That's to my local now.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Brett.
All right, let's try this.
Anik, please go ahead.
Okay. Hey folks, this is the OLM community meeting and issue triage meeting. Today is the December 17th, 2024. First in the agenda is briefs and RFCs under review. Looks like we have two RFCs that's under review, and both of them have the same lazy consensus date, um, 20th of December, 2024. So the first one's by Camila, ensuring metrics, endpoint security, and transitioning from Cube RBAC proxy. Um, Camila, do you want to add anything further for this, or it looks like there's a lot of reviews coming in already. So
Yeah, I think it is in a good shape, but if anyone would like to do any suggestion, please let you just do. We have also the pull request with the implementation. I don't know if it should be appropriate to put. Are you putting the agenda?
Yeah, definitely include that stuff too.
okay. Okay, so it looks like we'll discuss this a little bit further also later on. Prototype, I guess. Cool. The next one is catalog the query API endpoint RFC. Again, lazy consensus date is 20th December. We were able to catch up with the OpenShift console team, and it looks like so far the feedback that's coming in is positive. The main thing to probably, let me get rid of this. Oops. The main thing to probably, highlight right now is Sam asking, does this provide enough granularity for the console to do what it needs to do? And the TLDR is yes. But we're still having discussions about aspects of this RFC. We still have 3 more days, including today. So if you haven't had a chance to look at it, or if there's a pending comment, please go and take a look at it. Okay, Jordan, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Looks good.
Okay. Okay, so then that's the RFCs. The next, we move on to the discussion topics, right? It looks like Camila, you're up with the PR that we were talking about earlier.
This PR is just to remove Prometheus manifest from the project. The reason for that is like if you check the way that we have the data, the manifest, they would not be the best way to do this. It's not really a good way just to ignore the TLS checks. So, but if we try to fix that, right? If we just change the configuration to be in a better shape for production environment, the problem is how you do with the installer, because today the installer doesn't allow us to do any custom things. So I think the best approach would be remove the manifest, create a app for we support the integration with Prometheus. And then we also have another epic already, like how we allow people doesn't install the search manager, right? Because in a real production environment, probably we don't want to install by default the search manager and just screw up with the environment. So I would say that we need probably a RFC to discuss how you will change the installer to allow customizations and the things that are optional like that before we tackle cheese and the other one.
Yeah, I think we mentioned this. Camila, I mean, my voice is sorry, broken kind of. But you have discussed this before also. Yeah, I think I would say let's let's create a RFC on that as well.
So we should already have a multiple ways to run customization. I think one of them, it does install Cert Manager, and the other one should, I could be wrong, should install the necessary components of Cert Manager that we need, but not Cert Manager proper.
Yes, that is the other one that is in the agenda.
Wait, why are we talking about Cert Manager? This is just about Prometheus.
Because it both has the same problem, right? Because it's not only about you go there and you fix the Prometheus manifest. When I'm installing the solution, how I say I want Prometheus enable the integration with Prometheus. How, when I install, I say, I don't want to install Search Manager because I have a Search Manager already in my cluster. I only install what is required for the project itself to run. If you come
and
back,
actually, I think we already do that. I think we install Cert Manager as part of our test, but we include Cert Manager APIs or resources, but we don't actually install Cert Manager normally.
we install. Yeah, go.
I don't know if that's true, but I also don't think that's related to this RFC and design. Like this RFC and design is essentially, if you give us certificates, then we'll run the metrics endpoint.
No, Anika is showing something wrong, right? We are speaking about the agenda item, and Anika is showing the RFC. It's another topic. Can you come back to agenda, please? Okay, the first item to discussion topics. Camila, remove Prometheus and manifests and optional configuration approach. So the proposal now is to remove Prometheus. That is the PR. Right,
Okay,
just to remove.
Because your reasoning for that is that it's broke. I think you said it a couple different places that it's broken.
If you go in
broken?
file is changed. Can you please click on that? Come back there, please. Sorry.
Back where you were, Nick.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So I'm back in the agenda. You want me to click
Okay, yeah, click on that.
Yeah,
Go
and then
in the
files
pull
change.
request. Sorry, folks. Let's come back step by step. File is changed. So if you load the configuration, you can see that we are putting insecure skip verify. So we are not checking the communication between, right? And a more appropriate approach is describing the description of this pull request. If you would like to fix that.
Which repo is this in?
If you,
Popcon.
yeah.
Camilla, this is just removing dead code, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But if you would like to do the integration, right?
Wait, is it dead code?
Yeah, the Prometheus stuff is commented out. You'll see that very first customization.
Yeah, that's commented out, but isn't that sort of like an example there?
No, that's what pulls in everything, that base customization.
No, but I think what Brett's saying is that this monitor YAML.YAML file is being used being used as an example, and I think it would be a good idea to put this instead in the docs.
Sure. Yeah. But as this PR exists, it seems perfectly fine, right? Like we've never turned on that customization. It was probably something that was scaffolded out from KubeBuilder or Operator SDK initially. We just haven't ever used it.
Right. It's commented out.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I wanted to capture. That's actually the only thing I cared about in this discussion. That this should move off to documents. I think it's fine. Yep.
No, okay, so then if we come back to agenda, can you please go there? The agenda. Now we can go in the other issue that is similar, right? If we go in this issue, both then have a limitation, right? Both of them is like, if you will want provide customizations for the users, right? That we discussing another day. Like today, we go there and put install operator lifecycle manager v1, right? Indeed, the documentation, if you go in the quick start, it's saying, don't install that in a cluster, in a production cluster, because we will install search manager and that can screw up your cluster, right? Everything that is installed before, because you try to reinstall Search Manager. So then we discussed that we should open a epic. We could solve that by like adding a flag, install or not install Search Manager. That was one of the suggestions. But we also raise the need that is not only the scenario, right? We probably will have many scenarios that we need customization things. Like now we are saying, okay, I want to install this thing with Prometheus integration. I want to install this thing without Search Manager. I want to install this thing with another thing, right? That is what I think we need RFC to discuss how you doing the installer, how you implement the installer to allow we grow in this way. Because these are two use cases, but they fail in the same scenario. If you want to support via the installer, how will you do that?
Yeah, Camilla, I agree. We need to do something. I ran into another use case playing around with feature gates where it's like I don't want to commit code that turns an alpha feature gate on, but I also don't want to have to go and modify the source code in the config directory manually to turn it on. So it certainly would be nice if we had a way to take an existing installed release and say, turn these dials on it, turn these knobs such that you get cert manager or not, you get certain feature gates turned on or not, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I agree. I think we need to start thinking about something like this. For me, it's most important, I think, for the feature gate stuff, because that's sort of like the developer quality of life that will be really hard if we don't build that kind of thing into it.
And
I
we
think
do
for
have
external users, having something like disable cert manager or like a way to like optionally install it only if it's not present sort of dynamically, like that kind of stuff could be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we do have different customizations for with or without cert manager, and I think we just simply default to cert manager, and during our targets to install things, we do install cert manager. But cert manager itself is not part of our manifests, just the custom resources that we need from cert manager.
That's true, but I think that for the most part, if you look at, I could be wrong, but I'm guessing if you look at our docs, it says here's the install script from the release.
Yeah,
if
we do that, then that installs in cert manager, then yeah, that could be a problem. I could see that.
Yeah. So I like for me, I've thought like, well, maybe we should have a Helm chart, and then we could have templates and values, and then define a schema for the values. And then that's the place that we can introduce the knobs for cert manager, yes or no. Prometheus service monitor, yes or no. Which feature gates do you want? That kind of thing you can do. But obviously doing that introduces complexity because you have to start thinking about all those different knobs now. Anyway, I'm +1 on an RFC for this. There's another, Camilla, there's another related issue about making the upstream OLM install and upgrade experience better. And it's more about how we package OLM upstream and make it, actually able to be distributed. So it's not quite the same, but I think it's sort of in the same ballpark, and we might want to tie those together at least a little bit.
When I listen and we speak about the Helm charts idea, I think it would be the same RFC, right? How you want to distribute the solution and allow optional things, configurable things. I don't know. What is the best way?
The issue that I was just talking about is a slightly different perspective and bent, which is kind of more about upgrades than it is about the bundle format. Here's the 982. I'll put it in our agenda.
That should be another requirement, right? So we need a way to install the solution that allow us to upgrade from A to B, that allow us define I want to option A or B, disable or enable things. And probably also work with feature gates.
Yeah, I think that's probably separate but related. In my mind, one is about how do I configure what gets laid out, and the other is how do I distribute the thing that is configurable, right? So like one is about distribution, the other is about configuration.
But it's related, right? Because the way
Yeah,
that we decide to distribute need allow configuration.
exactly. Yeah.
Because that I think it could be in the same document, right? If we discuss the distribution, when we define a proposal for that, we need to consider the requirements, and that is one of our requirements.
Yep, I agree.
And then I don't know. The other point is, do you want to put a epic like support Prometheus integration, or we want only we define that now that we will have only in the docs and we never will allow
I
something.
would, for specifically for Prometheus, I would wait until someone from the community asks. I think Todd, was it Todd, you were looking into this like a year ago, and my feedback was similar. It's like, let's not add the complexity of dealing with yet another integration if no one is asking us to do it.
You mean Prometheus?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a PR up there for, and we decided not to go with it.
Yeah, so in my mind, I would say like if and when someone says, hey, we need to have some Prometheus integration, sure. But until then, I think we've got bigger fish to fry.
Perfect. So let's see if we are all in the same page. We can move forward and get the pull request message that does just delete the code that we don't want to use in the product. Yes, this one. Then the second point, we have our epic hour to discuss the distribution. Maybe it's valid just to make a comment about the prayer to ensure that one of the prayer requirements is allow optional and customization things. We don't need a new epic. Maybe just put a comment there. That is what I'm trying to say. Not it is one. We have a Joe Anika. Joe shared that he has one epic. We don't know the name, but he's like to thinking a better design, how we will distribute the product, right?
Yeah, sorry, Joe was talking about the feature gate.
The
No.
feature gate one I was talking about in terms of making the install configurable. The 982 there that I linked is about distributing OLM and making it upgradable upstream. So I think they're, like Camilla said, I think they're separate but related. The distributable artifact needs to be configurable. And the way that someone would, life cycle OLM itself needs to expose that configuration. So they're very much tied together, I think.
I think we can make a comment after offline here. Just add a comment. Some pre-requirements is to be configurable, like for example, enable, disable search manager, and enable or disable feature gates. That is done. Just before we capture that is a pre-requirement, and it's done.
Okay.
Unless someone disagree, but I thought on that.
Cool. Sounds like you're ready to move on to the next topic. Lala, you want to ask if you should start the release cadence or when do we start this?
Right. So my network is bad. I'm not sure if it is probably better now.
It's better.
Okay, cool. So we had a discussion in the upstream Slack about the release cadence, and probably most of us kind of agreed to 6 weeks. So a couple of things we need to decide what would be our acceptance criteria, like, some test needs to run. And if that passes, then we should do the tagging and release. We need a knob when we do not want that automatic release to happen. Maybe there is something going on and we do not want the automatic release to happen. We need a knob to pause it when we need it, like exception situations.
I'm not
And
sure. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, that's the two things I have, and when we should start, because we are kind of merging codes, bug fixes things into the upstream repositories and probably figuring out maybe after the monorepo effort is done, just trying to understand like what other people have like opinions on this.
So my perspective on the blocking tagging, I think, is different. I think the mode that we should operate in is that we could literally put a tag on main anytime ever, and it should be fine. And like that would then dictate how healthy main has to be, right? And we would then just start blocking PRs from merging if we weren't ready for that PR to be suddenly in a release tag. And I think we're pretty much doing that now, right? We've got all of our automated testing that all has to pass. We have our upgrade E to E's. We have our CRD upgrade checks. We've got like a whole suite of all of this stuff that gives us pretty good confidence. We're adding feature gates, right? So like we can merge code behind a feature gate that's not enabled by default. In my mind, and I'm interested in what others think, in my mind, I think we've got the regime in place on our PRs that means we can literally tag anytime we want. And rather than have like more effort in having like a go no go every 6 weeks, what I would probably say is unless someone comes with a really good reason to this meeting, then we're just going to do it every 6 weeks.
Yeah, so Joe, I will say you did use the word should, which is a wishy-washy term. I agree with you. We should be able to release every 6 weeks. And but there will be exceptions. And I think that, yes, when someone comes to this meeting and says, okay, I need to do this, or I noticed this, and we shouldn't release until we fix it, that should be the exception process. We should just assume we should assume everything's okay unless someone tells us otherwise.
Yeah, and I totally recognize there will be that kind of thing where it's like, oh crap, something merged, we need to revert it. That's kind of what I think we should be doing though, right? It's like it shouldn't be let's merge a feature over 5 PRs where the third PR leaves the repo in a bad state. I think it should be we can merge it over 5 PRs, but every one of those PRs is essentially either inactive or non-problematic. And that again, that might not always be the case, but that I guess what I'm suggesting is that needs to be the mindset. And if we're all doing that mindset and we've got that hat on when we're doing reviews of the code that's merging and when we're writing the code, I think that means that there will be very few exceptions. And of course, yes, there still will be, and we should be able to come to this meeting and say, stop the presses, but I would expect that to be fairly rare.
Right. Do we want to think about a feature branch construct for some potentially large features? I mean, we don't need to talk about now, but when we have large features that we know we're going to be doing, do we want to consider feature branches, or do we really want to just do feature gates?
I think gates, I mean, again, everybody can say their opinion. I feel like gates is probably enough. Like I've got a PR up right now that introduces webhook support with an alpha feature gate, and I didn't change the manifests to turn that feature gate on. So for all intents and purposes, that code is just dead code right now, unless someone goes in and figures out how to run operator controller with that feature gate turned on.
Okay.
In my mind, that's sufficient.
Is there something we could still do that would be, as an example, a non-required test that would test feature-gated things to make sure we don't break them in other commits? Does that make any sense?
As in turn feature gates on in our EDEs?
And have an EDE test that is not required that turns on the feature gates and
runs all of them.
Runs all of them to make sure that okay, they are normally passing, but if I go in and come in and break something in a feature gated feature that we can't detect unless that is actually run.
Totally agree. Yeah,
totally agree. My question, I think maybe I did not put my question in right way. The question was, the whole intent is that we do not have to ask go no go questions, right? We want to remove that because I don't think that actually adds much value. I think we had a discussion on this. So last release we did was 3 weeks back, right? And next 3 weeks, which is probably 2 weeks of holiday, we would be 6 weeks already. Probably will be 6 weeks, and we want to keep releasing whatever code we have merged, right? So that at least we are moving on, and don't accumulate too much code before we do the next bigger release or something like that. So the next release we will do after 3 weeks. How do you want to do it? Should we call out, or should we have the automation in place which would actually do the release for us?
We should already have all the automation in place, right? We've got all the Go releaser stuff. So whatever we did to release 1.0, I expect we'll do the exact same thing to release 1.1, with the exception that if the monorepo stuff merges, things will change slightly.
Yeah, but it's a manual release, right, Joe? Because somebody has to manually run the script.
Someone has to push a tag, but the tags need to be signed. So in my mind, we'll do releases every 6 weeks, but yes, there will still be the one manual task that someone has, which is get tag -s -a, the version, get push the tag, and that's all we have to do. And again, the monorepo stuff plays into that a little bit, but to me, pushing a tag is a reasonable human-driven thing that we do every 6 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay. I would prefer someone just push a tag than have it automatically done.
Yeah.
I mean, pushing a tag, as Joe points out, is 20 characters that you type on your on a command line
at most.
Yeah.
Sorry, Todd.
Yeah, I think manual is fine. Only thing is I think we can try that and see how good we are at remembering every 6 weeks at least. Else probably we need some kind of, even if a calendar reminder should be fine.
I mean, we could have it as part of the agenda of this meeting.
Yeah. Cool. Sounds good.
Okay. Then I think Jordan brings up a very pertinent question, which is before that, maybe it's worth seeing if anybody has anything else before we move on to that.
So
I have one thing. Sorry. We were maybe that should be another topic, right? But we are here speaking about the feature gates in upstream. So, like we said, we want to X feature gates and the tests and whatever. One question that I have: should we also define how many feature gates in alpha we should have? Or because one concern that I have is looking another document about the feature gates, if each feature gate be an arc that we pass for the manager and be also envivars for we know if we do the tests or not. How can that be manageable and maintain it?
I think, Camilla, what we should do probably, at least to start out, is for the test aspect, we have one more EDE that turns on all feature gates simultaneously. And then we make sure that we have a test suite that where each of the tests is gated by is the feature enabled? And of course, it'll be enabled when we're running that test because we've turned on all of them. And then we'll essentially get what you're asking for without a bunch of overhead.
Yeah.
I would say, though, completely separately, I do think we should have some sort of rubric by which we say this thing has been sitting as an alpha feature gate for a year and it's not been promoted. We should delete the code for it.
Or at the very least, get it promoted. Either one. We should either basically do a go, no go on that feature.
Like the force Simber stuff, I don't like. That's when I would probably say, let's get rid of it.
The which stuff?
We have a feature gate in operator controller for ignoring upgrade graphs from the catalog and instead just forcing Simber upgrade graphs. And we did that initially because it was easy. But now that we went and implemented support for skips to replace the skip range, that's what we're using. And that's what everyone would expect because those are the catalogs that we're using. I don't foresee us turning on something that blatantly ignores what's in the catalog. So like I would suggest we go and get rid of that feature gate and its code.
I would prefer to have a conversation specific to that
Sure.
because
Yeah,
I could argue an opposing position on that particular case.
Yeah, totally fine. I'm just using this as an example of we've got something that has been sitting there for a while. We should have a discussion about it.
Cool. I just didn't want somebody running off and spinning a PR that goes and punts that.
Fair. I agree.
Let's talk.
Maybe a good topic for supporting tools. Well, it's probably not really supporting tools. Never mind. We can tee it up for next week or 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can add an action item right now, but it seems like I might have logged in from the wrong account, so it's going as suggestions instead of actual
I'm
account.
approving them.
Okay, thank you. I saw that. Thank you. But I'll log back in and then I'll add that action item. Okay.
Sorry, Anik.
Yeah.
So there is couple of old action items we need to touch up on before we go to the last topic, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. Action item. Let's see.
Yeah, the first one is me sending a PR about the deprecation notice for OLM roadmap. I just sent it. So today, just before the meeting. And so take a look. I think Camilla already LGTM this, just a one-liner.
Oh, okay. Cool. Okay.
And the next action item is Camilla and me going through the existing roadmap to make sure that we have picks the ones we want to work on, like the team as a long-term OLM goals. So we started kind of working on it in a document, trying to sync with each other and maybe get questions, the answer from other folks, and then we'll update the roadmap documentation. Camilla, yeah.
Sorry. So then, does this need to be carried over?
Yeah, it's carried over. It's in progress. Camilla, do you want to add anything on that action item?
No, it's all.
So if there is action items, Anik, there is already diligence roadmap, there is already action items or something like that, right?
Oh yeah.
No, not here actually though. You are in a wrong date.
Right.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah, I didn't see any action items here, which is why I added.
Don't worry. I mean, do it and we can fix it later. So, please.
Cool. And then what else is? Okay, Joel, I'll have to create a dashboard which will reflect the relative priority of the epics.
So we have the. Go ahead.
You go ahead.
No. My mic is very bad. So please go ahead.
Okay, so I'll try to say what I think, but I might be wrong here. So I think Lala put a dashboard together. I think there's still issues with how you can rank things. relative to each other that might have to do with the fact that we've got multiple projects in the view. So we sort of have the makings of this, but last I saw, it still didn't let us re-rank things with the granularity that we needed. So I think this is probably still an open action item.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. And then it looks like the next action item, Jordan, is already crossed out. So, and I'm pretty sure I didn't do that. There's an PR or issue for it. Okay. The next action item is also Camilla's, which is marked as done. So I think that's all, right, for the action items.
Yes.
Okay. So we finally move on to it's the holidays. Should we cancel the next one or two?
Two, I would say two, right? One is 24th, one is 31st of December. So 31st of December anyways should be cancelled. 24 also Christmas Eve they should get cancelled. So I think next two meetings would be cancelled.
Okay.
And even I think the next two meeting, that is correct.
Okay. So someone needs to help me with canceling those two meetings, uploading. I need
Yeah,
video.
I think you can put action item on me. I can cancel the calendar, right? And put in the channel probably.
Okay. Okay, it's not showing up. Okay. And I'm gonna and upload video. I know you didn't explicitly say that, but I'm just gonna put that there.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, cool. I think that's all. Did I hear something? I guess background noise. Okay, cool. So I think that's all that brings us to the conclusion of this community meeting. Thanks everybody for joining. Happy holidays, and we'll see you back in the new year.
Thanks everyone. Bye.